Hey everybody, we're back. Another quick episode today. We're going to call this one all about leftovers. A leftover lunch on a Saturday. We dug through the refrigerator to see what was left in there. I dug through the cabinet here, and then I went freezer diving to see what was in the freezer that we could use and just put it all together and make something and be creative. Much better option, I think, than going out and grabbing unhealthy takeout somewhere and spending money. And this way you can stay at home, use what you've got in the fridge and the cabinet, and be a little creative and make something tasty. So let's go. This is what we've got. We've got some leftover brown rice here. I found a can of black beans. I found half of a bag of corn tortillas. Leftover onion, some leftover pepper tops, half a bag of shredded cheese, some limes, a little bit of sour cream left, a little bit of salsa left. Oh, and I made a top round steak the other night on the grill. I'm going to slice that up thin. We'll talk about that in a little bit. What I'm doing here is slicing this top round steak very thin. I like using a small knife. I feel like I have a little bit more control over it. This blade is super sharp too. And I cut it against the grain. A lot of people don't know what that means. If you look at the beef, you can see the grain going this way. So I'm cutting it this way, which means you can basically pull it apart. If I cut it the other way, it might be a little bit more tough. Top round is a cheap, well, I shouldn't say cheap, but it's one of the least expensive cuts of meat in terms of a steak, which means it can also be very tough. It's hard to get a top round piece of meat to be tender. So what I do is I like to marinate them, just in any kind of marinade you want to come up with, for about an hour before you cook it. I don't really see any reason of marinating meat for any longer than an hour. It's hard to penetrate that top layer of a steak anyway, so marinate it for about an hour, and then I cook it on high heat on the grill for about 3 minutes on each side. And you get nice grill marks, and it comes out about medium rare to medium. And then the longer it sits on the cutting board while you're letting it rest, it'll keep cooking actually. And then if you use it for leftovers like I'm using now, this is about medium, so when I cook it up, obviously it's going to be well done. But I'm going to cook it in some oil with some onions and peppers, and that'll soften it up. I'm using a cast iron pan, one of my favorite things to cook on. I turned that on. I want to get it good and hot before I start cooking everything. I'm going to cook our onions and peppers first, get those cooked down, put the meat in, get that warmed up. Cook then the meat, because the meat's already cooked, you're just warming that up. Add a little salt, a little pepper, secret ingredient, that's brown sugar. Adds a sweetness, brings out the sweetness in the onions and the peppers, and allows it to caramelize, and I think gives it a nice color too. So I just put this meat in the same cast iron pan I cooked everything else in. Trying to get everything so it touch all the pieces that touch so they touch the surface of the pan. And this will not take long to heat up. Now I'm going to cook up some of these corn tortillas. Now, corn tortillas get a bad rap. Sometimes people, they don't like the texture of them. Well, that's because you're not cooking them correctly. Really, if I cut these into like pie shapes and fried them in a pan, they would basically turn into tortilla chips, just like you buy at a store. You can wrap these and eat these cold or slightly warmed up, like you'll see them in a soft taco sometimes with grilled fish or fried shrimp on top of it. That's good. I like to fry the corn tortillas and keep them whole like this. I think it adds a nice crunch and it looks nice on a plate. So we're gonna cook 6 of them up, 2 each. Well, while everything's warming up, how about we go outside and I'll let you know what I've been working on. I'll let you know what I've been working on all morning before I've started cooking lunch. It's turning into quite a project. Let's go outside. I have quite a mess on my hands. Opening the pool for the season, even though this morning it was 24 degrees outside. It's a nice sunny day and it's warmer now, but I just needed to get outside and I wanted to get at this pool. Well, last fall after I covered it, we lost some trees. One of the trees fell down and fell into the pool. It didn't do any damage to the actual pool, but I didn't know it at the time. It poked a hole, several holes, on the top of my pool cover. So when I went to drain the water off the cover this year, I noticed it was taking a long time. Well, that's because it wasn't just draining the water off the top of the cover. The pool water was coming up and I was actually draining a lot of that out with the sub pump. So I've got a big mess on my hands. I've got tons of leaves and pine needles in here. Water doesn't look half bad. It's just I've lost a ton of water, as you can see. And it's gonna take a while to clean it up out here. But it's only mid-April here in the North Country, so we're not going to be swimming for a couple of months anyway. So I've got some time to get this whole area cleaned up and make the water nice and put some mulch out and just get some things cleaned up. But anyway, that's what I've been doing, and that's why I'm so hungry for lunch, because I've been at this since about 5 o'clock this morning. Okay, it's almost time to put this plate together. Our neighbor cut down a bunch of bamboo over there, and he just bought the house, and now he's got sand all over the top of it and he's rolling it. I'm afraid to tell him that bamboo is going to shoot right up over that sand and dirt he put down. It's just hard to get rid of that, but he's out there enjoying being outside, enjoying working on his new home. That's a good thing. Our friend Kevin just came. He's bringing some rolls for us. We'll take that. Free food? Absolutely. Here's what we're gonna do. I'll do one plate for you, and then it'll be over. So we're gonna take this rice, making a little bit of a mess, but that's all right. I really don't have anything else to do. So putting some rice on the corner of the plate. Take my black beans that I've been cooking over there, and I'm just going to take a scoop of them, put them right on top of, well, maybe a scoop and a half, right on top of right on top of that rice. Everyone gets 2 corn tortillas. So I just put them on the plate. Remember, we're not worried about presentation a whole lot for lunch, but we still want it to look nice. With peppers and onions, put them in the middle of the tortilla, each tortilla, and then take, I don't know, 3 or 4 slices of the beef, put them on top like this. Take some sour cream, put a little dollop on top of each one. People can always go back and get more. Take our salsa, mix it up a little bit. Drop that on the top too. Take some cheese. This is turning into a little bit of a Tex-Mex dish. We're gonna sprinkle the cheese all over the top. And then give everyone a lime wedge. You never know, they might like a lime wedge. And then, you know, as we always say, when you eat with more than your mouth, we take a little cilantro, put it on top to make it look nice, punch it up just a little bit. Remember those jalapenos? We're gonna drop those right on top of that lime. People don't have to eat them. And here's lunch. We might say it looks like a little bit of a garbage plate, but I say it's leftovers. We've not wasted any food. We're gonna have a tasty lunch. We've been working hard outside. We deserve it. You deserve it too. Make something nice for yourself today. Do that. Look at who has arisen today to eat lunch. My son, Carson Griffin.
It's breakfast time. Morning.
It's breakfast, but he might eat some of this.
I totally eat that.
All right, everybody, that's all we've got. Have a good day. Jerry Griffin, Red Hat Nation. See you next time. Update. I have my whole family eating lunch right now. I thought I'd be eating alone,
Breakfast.
but we're all eating lunch. Well, Carson's eating breakfast. He'll have second breakfast later. So, sorry for the second goodbye, but had to update you. Jerry Griffin, Red Hat Nation. We'll see you next time. Have a good day.